Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be starting a series to talk about social media. The reason is that if you follow me on Instagram, you would know that I am actually a communication specialist by day. I just come on YouTube to do fun tutorials and things like that. But I have so many amazing small business owners and content creators in my life, and many of them ask me questions about marketing, PR, social media, and I thought, hey, I have a YouTube channel. Why don't I jump on here and share some of the tips and tricks that I know in case it might be useful to all of you. Before I jump into today's video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up because it makes YouTube happy. And if you'd like to see more content like this, you can subscribe to my channel, and if you want, you can click the bell as well, and that will give you an indication of when I've posted my next video. We are jumping into 2021, and so I thought what a great way to start by talking about some of the things that we really need to leave behind in 2020. And I know you're thinking, Tasia, there's a lot of things we would love to leave behind in 2020, but I'm talking specifically about Instagram. So I'm going to talk to you about some of the mistakes or some of the things we need to stop doing on Instagram, especially if you really want to grow your brand and really develop a really good presence online. So the first thing that I'm going to say that you really need to stop doing in 2021 on Instagram, and that is ignoring Reels. Reels is all the rage right now. Instagram launched Reels a few weeks ago, and they are really pushing it heavily because, well, let's be honest, it is a feature that is very similar to another social media platform, TikTok. They are clearly trying to compete with them, and Instagram has done this successfully over the number of years. Originally, Instagram was just a photo-based social media company, and then they took down Vine by introducing 15-second videos. And then they decided to tackle another social media platform, and that was Snapchat, because they introduced stories, which was something that you could only do on Snapchat, and then Instagram launched it as well. So Instagram has had a very long history of taking on the ideas of other social media platforms, but doing it very successfully. And the reason why it's working is because, let's be honest, who has time to keep switching from platform to platform to platform? So honestly, I'm all for it. I actually like the fact that I can just go onto one social media platform and I can post a picture, I can post a reel, I can do a video, and I can also share some stories. So it's actually a very smart feature. Because Instagram is pushing this feature, you will notice that Reels is being heavily pushed in people's feeds. If you follow any big Instagrammers, I'm talking those who have like tens of thousands of followers, you will notice that many of these influencers have actually complained ever since Reels was introduced that now all of a sudden their photos are now not getting the engagement they used to get. So the reason why that is because Instagram wants to make sure that this Reels feature doesn't flop, and therefore it really needs to push it heavily and get people online producing more Reels content. But this is a great thing for you. This means that this is something that you should definitely be pushing, because if you put out more Reels, Instagram will push you along and help you out by making sure that those Reels get in front of folks. The other great thing about Reels is the fact that Reels is something that gets pushed in front of people who don't follow you. Everything else that you post on Instagram is going to be viewed by people who already are your subscribers. They're already followers of yours, and therefore it's just to maintain that relationship. But if you actually want to get in front of more eyes, people who are not following you, Reels is the way to go right now. The second thing you really need to leave behind in 2020 and stop doing in 2021, and that is over curating your Instagram feeds. People are getting really tired of seeing these magazine, unattainable, picture-perfect Instagram feeds. People usually go on Instagram because they want to get more of a personal touch, especially if you are selling a product. If they wanted to just know about your product, they would just go to your website. But they go to Instagram because they feel like they're going to get maybe behind-the-scenes looks, if they're going to get little tidbits and little things that they can't see on a static, stagnant website. And it's more to develop a personal relationship with your brand rather than just get simple information. If you actually really want to convert sales, you have to develop a relationship with that potential consumer. And to do that, people need to feel like they trust you and trust your brand, and people don't trust you if everything you put out there is perfect. A particular niche I see that is actually really bad with this, and that is mommy bloggers. I absolutely love mommy bloggers. I love the community that mommy bloggers have built online, and I think it's really great, but motherhood is not perfect. And so therefore, whenever mothers go online, and they usually want to go there to get a sense of community and find other mothers who are going through the same thing that they are, and they see this perfect image of motherhood where your child child is always perfectly cleaned and coiffed and your house is spotless and sparkling, that does not make them feel, one, very good about themselves, because I mean, like, I don't want to go to Instagram and feel bad about how I'm doing as a mother, and two, it just doesn't seem realistic or unattainable. So therefore, they're probably less likely to follow you because they're going to feel like this person is way like in a whole other universe from me. There's no way that I can relate to this, and that's not what you want to do. Now, before you say, Tasia, are you saying to just take a photo in really bad lighting, in a really poor angle, and just throw it up on Instagram? No, definitely not saying that. I think it's really important to produce really good content. I think it's really important for you to make sure that your images and videos look really great and are well lit, good angles, nicely set. But I'm just saying that don't get obsessed with making them perfect. If you get stuck in this like theme where like everything in your Instagram feed has to be turquoise, and unless it has a turquoise background or turquoise something in that image, and you won't take the photo, even though you were like, hey, this is a really great moment, or this is a great product or something that I want to share, and I feel like I can't just because there's no turquoise in the picture, well, then that means that you're being bound and put into a little box that you created for yourself based on making this perfect image, and then therefore you're limiting yourself. And one of the most important things about social media is being consistent. And there's so many times that I have been guilty of this, where I won't share certain photos because I don't think it looks perfect or great. And I see other social media accounts out there who are just mass producing, posting, and I'm thinking like, well, that doesn't even look that awesome. But people are following them. People would rather follow someone who is consistently producing, and they can feel like, hey, I'm gonna go onto this account and I'm gonna get new content and new information, than somebody who only posts sporadically and everything looks picture perfect. So definitely consistency, and in this particular case, quantity is actually a little bit more important than quality sometimes. I think it's really important to you not to get obsessed with making everything perfect, and instead just produce something that looks more realistic based on whether it's your product or whether it's your personal brand. The third thing I really think you need to stop doing in 2020, and that is having very lazy captions. Instagram has really evolved in what it originally started out of. It used to mainly just be like a place and platform for professional photographers or those of us who just want to share a little bit behind the scenes of their personal life, and they would just throw out some pictures, maybe put like a one sentence caption in that, if they even did that much. Instagram has really turned into a place where people share a lot of intimate details about their life, or really important information, or even educational facts, and obviously a really great place to showcase brands. Blogging used to be all of the rage, and a lot of people are still very successful bloggers, but many of us have short attention spans. Some of us really just don't have the time to sit there and read a 10-minute blog, but many of us will find 2 minutes to read a caption in your Instagram feed. Captioning has turned into something that's really important, and you notice that most people's captions have gotten longer and longer and longer. Now, I'm not saying to write an opus under every single photo, but putting a little bit more effort into your captions usually means that people will be more and more engaged. If you're sharing a really intimate fact about yourself, or if you're going into detail about what makes your brand so great or your product so awesome, that is more likely to get people to engage and comment and like on that particular post, rather than you just throwing up a cute picture and writing 5 words underneath it, and you might get a like, if that. So captions are a really great way to engage with your audience, ask them questions, share important information. They will be more likely to return again and again. So don't be lazy with your captions in 2021. Take the time to really write something thoughtful and interesting, and you don't have to do it every single time. You can mix it up. Like, you can have some posts that are longer and educational, and then you can have other posts that are just cute and snappy and quick. So you don't have to do it every single time, but having some more engaging captions and putting a little bit more thought into them will really help grow your brand and really make people feel that much more engaged online. The fourth thing I'm going to say that you should really stop doing on Instagram, especially in 2021, is filling your Instagram stories with other people's content. Curated content is extremely important online, and if you're not sure what that is, there's a difference between created content and curated content. Created content is something that you originally made yourself, so whether it's an image, a graphic, a blog post. Curated content is sharing other people's content, so something that somebody else wrote or created, or if it's a graphic design, something along those lines. Anything that you didn't make yourself is curated, and you're choosing to share it on your platform. And I think curated content is really, really important. It really kind of helps fill out your brand. It really fills out your train of thought, your ideology, your values. So when you share certain things that are great from other folks, I think that's awesome. But stories is especially a great way to engage with your following. And therefore, people usually go onto your stories to get a little bit more insight behind the scenes or a little bit more about you, or also a really kind of more interactive way where you can do like polls and questions and answers and so forth. So if you're filling that up with other people's content, it's not really helping you. If I go to someone's stories and all I see is like post after post of all of these different shares from other people's accounts, one, I either get bored halfway through and I'm like, okay, all they're doing is sharing a whole bunch of other stuff from other people, and I swipe and move on to somebody else's stories, or I'm actually interested in the content that they're sharing, but then I click through to the other person and then I'm more likely to follow them. And over time, I might start questioning my relationship and following your actual platform, because I might start wondering, why am I following them instead of following the original creator? So it's okay to share it every once in a while. And for sure, especially if you're starting out small, if you're a small brand, you might not have the time or energy to be producing mass amounts of content. So it's okay to be sharing somebody else's. However, make sure that you're definitely mixing in your own personal original content in there as well. And you might be wondering, Tasia, what is the appropriate percentage of curated versus created content? Well, that really depends. It depends on your brand. It depends on your capacity. It depends on what kind of budget you have. So I don't think there's actually a perfect percentage of what you should share. Many in the past have said that it's 80-20. For some companies, it might be 60-40. So for some, it might be 30-70. So I just highly recommend that if you're going to be sharing stuff in your stories, don't make it all about somebody else, and you don't necessarily have to make it all about yourself either. Figure out what works for your brand and what makes sense, but don't have these large swaths of 20 different shares within your Instagram stories. Make sure that you're mixing in your original content in there as well, so people still know that there's a reason and a value in following you and not necessarily the person who you're sharing their content for. That is it. Those are my 4 quick tips of the things that you should really stop doing on Instagram in 2021, and things instead that you really should be doing starting in the new year. I hope these tips are helpful and useful to you and really help you grow online. Please comment below if you'd like me to share more videos like this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Picture perfect. I can't even say it. Especially if you want to grow your brand. Blech. Picture perfect. That was not picture perfect. Come on here and share some of the tips. And that is, I forgot what it is. But for some companies, it might be 30-40 or 30-40. That's 70%. People are getting really tired of seeing magazine level picture perfect. Oh my gosh.